Perfect. Okay. And your name and your title, and if you could spell your name.
All right. My name is Forrest Rohwer, and it's spelled Forrest with one R, and the last name is Rohwer. And I'm a professor of biology at San Diego State University.
And today we're talking about a study that was done, and a timely one, in terms of COVID being transmitted through touching things, particularly all of our concern, candy.
Yes.
You see people making these crazy shoots and, ways to throw the candy at the kids or whatever, and it might all really be for nothing, right?
Well, it's so the throwing the candy actually kind of makes sense, right? Because the important point of the study is that for the most part, we don't think with some proper hygiene that the virus is actually being transmitted by the candy itself. It's really the person-to-person contact. So if you can give out the candy and you can receive the candy without being really close to people, and you wear masks, you should be fine for exchanging them.
So that's really the bigger deal. Not so much that it's sitting on the candy, like, some people are still wiping down their groceries and maybe now they'll wipe down their candy. It's not that, it's the idea that we're in close proximity, like coming to the door, opening the door, stepping out, breathing on each other.
Yeah, that's really the take-home message, is that we just don't want people getting really close to each other, especially without masks. That's how the virus is primarily being transmitted. But the candies themselves, even people with an active infection, if they're washing their hands and the people receiving it are washing their hands, it really did dramatically lower the amount of viruses on the candy.
And can you kind of explain the study to us?
Yeah, so I mean, it's pretty simple. Just take patients that with an active COVID case, give them different types of candy, let them handle it, and then look to see if the candy was treated by just letting them touch the candy without any precautions, versus coughing directly on the candy, versus if you wash your hands and use detergent. And what we really found is that, of course, someone actively coughing is going to shed a lot of viruses onto the candy, and that can be completely or very strongly reduced just by treating with hand washing, regular detergent.
So even somebody who may have coughed on it and then handed it out, even if the person grabbed the candy, as long as they washed their hands after handling the candy, the transmission was low.
Yeah, exactly. So as long as, you don't have someone like your kid.
But the transmission wasn't necessarily zero, right? I mean,
yes,
there is
and remember, we're not really able to measure transmission because you have to really look at what you can look at is how much virus is on the candy after these different scenarios. So we're looking at literally the numbers. And then from that, you can make a guess about how likely would it be that someone could get the disease from the candy. So that's what
so wiping the candy down might also be a good idea, like some people are still doing for their groceries.
Yeah. So you can't really, there's no fault in doing that, right? It's the only thing that I would emphasize is that we know for the most part this virus is really transmitting through the air. So if you're really saying that what's the most important thing, you need to be wearing masks, and really, if you can, I highly suggest that you wear like an N95 sort of mask or a KN95, because that really does get rid of the very small particles in the air, and that makes a big difference. Whether you're actually transmitting it off surfaces, we're actually looking at that very directly, right? Can we find how often do you see it moving via surfaces? And really the evidence points to it's mostly through the air and it's mostly respiratory.
Okay. Is there anything that you wanted to say that I didn't ask about the study?
I would just emphasize that this was a great, just a lot of work by a whole bunch of people, and that we should really acknowledge the graduate students who who did all of the work. And you'll see them on the authors, but there's Rodolfo Salido, and then Marisa Isabella Rojas. They really worked very hard on this study.
Very good.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time today. Sorry to bother while traveling, but we appreciate
Oh, no.
your time.